तो यहाँ पे ये सब सुन के द्रोणाचार्य फुल टूट जाते हैं and Dronacharya is like, I did not even imagine that I had become such a filthy person over a period of time and I'm so sad right now. I don't know what to do. Lord Krishna, please help me. तो यहाँ पे कृष्णा बोलता है, see you have already crossed all the limits of audacity. यहाँ पे तुम्हारे पास दूसरा कुछ ऑप्शन है ही नहीं. But if you still like go back, you know, if you remember, they were in this trance that they were having this conversation. If you still have time, like you have two options: either you get back into yourself and you start the war again, and probably you will win the war. But I don't know what good that will do to you when you die and you will have to answer people on the other way, right? Or option two is you leave the battlefield, you leave your body. Basically, बोले तू मर जा यहाँ पे, and maybe some of your sins would be taken care of, and maybe it will lead to a better result, and maybe you will find peace then. So यहाँ पे ये सब सोचने के बाद द्रोणाचार्य बोलते हैं कि अगर ऐसा है तो ठीक है, I think I will take the decision, I will leave off the entire situation, चलेगा. But what about my son, अश्वत्थामा? तो यहाँ पे कृष्णा हंसता है और बोलता है, everyone who comes on this earth has a purpose. So when Ashwatthama was born, his purpose was already destined. So he will serve that purpose and he will be judged accordingly. You need not worry about him. Go now. तो ये सुनने के बाद यहाँ पे द्रोणाचार्य कृष्णा को he bows down and then he goes back into his trance. So zup करके सब pause से यहाँ पे निकल जाते हैं and you have Drishtadyumna, that is Draupada, going back towards the, what do you say, going back towards Dronacharya, who was in a meditating position, and as I already mentioned, meditating in that entire scenario in the middle of the war was not allowed. और यहाँ पे जैसी मौका मिला, द्रुपदा जाता है वहां पे और द्रोणाचार्य की मुंडी को गर्दन उसके शरीर से अलग कर देता है, and Dronacharya is killed on the battlefield. यहाँ पे Dronacharya is dead and a major loss on the Kauravas side. But the Pandavas side, यहाँ पे instead of rejoicing that the Kauravas army has been weakened, they are now sobbing because it was their dear teacher जिसने उनको सब कुछ सिखाया था यहाँ पे. तो यहाँ पे ये सब जो पूरा एपिसोड था, यहाँ पे ये एपिसोड से अपने को सीखने क्या मिलता है यहाँ पे in the first place, right? There are certain hidden messages that I would like to point out here. The very first thing is, as modern science says, like I'm not following the order, but I'm just trying to state all these messages which I found interesting. In modern science they always say whenever you conceive or whenever the mother is pregnant, she's always advised to read good things, look at good things, and get things that are nice, positive. There's a reason why, because the baby inside the womb, the bacha inside the womb, it gets affected. So similarly, if you observe, there is this the Putra Kamishti Yagya, the Havan wala jo kiya gaya tha yahan pe. If you observe in the Ramayana, the same Yagya was done, but it was done out of sheer love, affection, like pyar for one another, because of which all the kids that were born, the 4 kids, Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, Shatrugna, they all were loving brothers who loved their entire family and highly respected one another. On the other hand, during your, Mahabharat, when Drupada, the king of Panchal, when he did that yagya, he did it out of sheer vengeance, out of that badle wala art, jiski wajah se both the kids that were born were equally, gruesome, equally, bure, like not very kind-hearted, always having that burning feeling inside. We all know basically Draupadi ka characteristics already. And one thing that I'd like to point out here is, who is Draupada? Who is this Drishtadyumna exactly? He is none other than Ekalavya, who is reborn as Draupada in order to take his revenge on Dronacharya. So that is why even in modern science today, as we say, whenever there is this conceiving process, we should always follow the positive things and not get into any form of negativity. That's the first important thing that I'd like to point out. Secondly, when it comes to the Krishna ideology, why this entire thing has to happen. Like once again, a huge respect to Lord Krishna that everything was as planned and everything fell into its own place. When Krishna killed Ekalavya, as I had already mentioned, he gave him a boon that you will be able to take revenge on whoever has killed you. So he was born as Drishtadyumna, and Drishtadyumna is the one who killed this guy, Dronacharya, in the battlefield. Saraswati had cursed that whoever was responsible for Eklavya's death will die a humiliating death. So obviously, in the middle of the battlefield, if you leave your weapons and stand like meditating, obviously it's humiliating. कि ऐसे कैसे तूने weapon छोड़ दिया करके. So even that curse is completely fulfilled यहाँ पे. So there are too many strings attached, and once again the master planner यहाँ पे he connects all the strings very beautifully without any of them getting loose. The third thing that we realize here is it does not matter how much learned you are or how much stuff you know. It is always about what kind of values you bring out and what kind of qualities you bring out always. Dronacharya was a great teacher, no doubt, but irrespective of being a great teacher, he ended up being just a normal mere human with very basic human feelings यहाँ पे, right, which is something we all have. So one more important thing that we learn from this story is controlling, no matter what position, what things we know, what how much money we make, having those basic morals and values is what will make you a good human in the first place. And last but not the least, and which I think is the most important point here, is very beginning of this conversation when Krishna met Dronacharya. The first thing that Krishna did was bow down to Dronacharya. Even if Krishna knew that Dronacharya was not the man who he claimed to be, even though Dronacharya was not as good as he thought he would be, and even though Krishna knew everything that he is, but still Krishna, God himself, bowed down in front of Dronacharya just because Dronacharya was a teacher. And that is one thing which has always been inculcated in the entire Indian audience, the feeling of Acharya Devo Bhava. So this is what I would want to end my story here with. And as it's Teachers Day, 5th September, so I would wish everyone in my life who has ever taught me a lesson a very, very happy Teachers Day. Acharya Devo Bhava. This is Vikith Jain VJ signing off.